So for some reason, you chose sales as a career. Maybe it was the promise of uncapped income, the thrill of closing deals, or the freedom of being out in the field with no one breathing down your neck. And while all of that can be true, anyone who's been in sales for more than a minute will tell you it's not easy. It's competitive, demanding, and constantly evolving. This video is here to give you a foundational framework to navigate that world. One built from proven methods, field-tested strategies, and lessons learned from some of the best in the game. Because let's face it, there's no formal qualification in sales. If you want to succeed, you'll need to read, research, listen, and constantly level up. So what is sales all about? Sales is not about pushing products. It's about solving problems. Just remember, most prospects are blind to their problems and don't think they need to change. Otherwise, they would have done it already. Sales is the art and science of helping a buyer uncover these hidden challenges and helping them make a confident purchase decision. At its core, it's about understanding customer needs and aligning your offering to create value, solve pain points, and build relationships. Whether you're selling software, services, or solutions, understanding the landscape of modern business-to-business selling is the key to long-term success. In this video, we'll unpack two powerful frameworks, snap selling and spin selling, and equip you with essential knowledge and skills to succeed in business-to-business sales. Before you can master selling, it helps to understand the different approaches salespeople use because not all sales are created equal. Each approach has its own mindset, method, and situation where it shines. There are many different sales approaches, so you might want to research that as a separate project. For this video, we will just highlight the following 6 approaches as follows. Number 1. Transactional selling. Focuses on quick, one-time deals with minimal relationship building. Number 2. Consultative selling. Centers around solving problems through a deep understanding of client needs. Number 3. Solution selling. Offers customized packages based on specific customer challenges. Number 4. Insight selling. Uses new ideas and perspectives to challenge customer thinking. Number 5. Social selling. Leverages social media and digital platforms to build relationships. Number 6. Snap selling. Focuses on speed, simplicity, and aligning with the busy buyer's mindset. Most business-to-business deals are done in person. This can be defined as personal selling and is a face-to-face or direct interaction between a salesperson and a buyer, where communication, relationship building, and persuasion are used to influence purchase decisions. There are also different types of salespeople. Feel free to do a deeper dive on this topic, but for this video, we will highlight the following 4. Number 1. The closer. The closer is aggressive, results-driven, and excels in short-term deals. Number 2. The consultant. This is often a problem solver, someone who builds trust and focuses on long-term value. Number 3. The storyteller uses narratives to engage and persuade. Lastly, the relationship builder mostly prioritizes connections over quick wins. Wrapping up on the introduction, we also need to highlight some skills that you might need to hone to excel at sales. Again, this is a topic that can be expanded separately as there are many skills that can be applied to successful sales. For this video, we will focus on the top 15 personal selling skills that we think are important. Number 1. Active listening. Truly hearing and understanding the buyer's needs. Number 2. Questioning skills. Asking the right questions to uncover real pain points. Number 3. Empathy. Relating to customer challenges on a human level. Number 4. Product knowledge. Deep understanding of what you're selling. Number 5. Communication skills. Clear, persuasive, and confident delivery. Number 6. Negotiation skills. Finding win-win outcomes that satisfy both parties. Number 7. Objection handling. Responding to resistance with calm, logic, and empathy. Number 8. Relationship building. Creating long-term connections, not just transactions. Number 9. Time management. Prioritizing high-value tasks and prospects. Number 10. Tech savviness. Leveraging CRM tools and digital platforms. Number 11. Closing techniques. Knowing when and how to confidently ask for the sale. Number 12. Adaptability. responding to buyer behavior and market changes. Number 13, storytelling, using narrative to create emotional resonance. Number 14, follow up, staying persistent without being pushy. Number 15, emotional intelligence, managing your own emotions and reading others. As you can gather, each of these can be studied on its own. Humans are complex beings, and each one of us have natural skills and other skills we need to work on. Find your natural skills and use that to grow your confidence whilst you work on other areas that are not that natural. With that as the backdrop, let's jump into the details of snap and spin selling. In today's high-pressure world, your prospects are overwhelmed, distracted, and skeptical. That's why Jill Konrath created snap selling, a method designed to align with the crazy busy buyer. You need to understand the business landscape. Buyers today are bombarded with sales pitches, overflowing inboxes, and endless choices. Snap selling helps salespeople navigate this landscape of overwhelmed buyers by being simple, invaluable, aligned, and a priority. Konrath breaks the process down into 3 decisions your buyer has to make. The first decision is to allow access. Before a buyer engages in a sales conversation, they make a snap judgment. Is this worth my time? In this phase, your only goal is to earn access by being immediately relevant, valuable, and respectful of their limited time. You must break through the noise with messaging that resonates with their priorities, shows insight into their world, and positions you as someone who can help, not someone who will waste their time. If you fail here, you won't even get a foot in the door. Main focus here is to demonstrate relevance and earning attention. Your goal is to break through the noise and secure a conversation with a crazy busy buyer by showing you're worth their precious time. There are 2 stages to this decision. The first is that your prospect has no interest in connecting. Prospects often ignore outreach because they assume it will waste their time. Your initial messaging must immediately convey relevance and value. In The Crazy Busy Executive Who Shut the Door, Konrath tells the story of a senior executive who literally slammed the door on a salesperson after just 1 minute. You see, the rep started the meeting with a product pitch instead of focusing on the buyer's needs. Lesson: busy buyers have zero patience for self-centered salespeople. You need to quickly communicate relevance and value, or you're out. Another example is the relevance test, Inbox Reality. Here, Jill shares how decision-makers process emails in a matter of seconds. She conducted informal interviews where executives explained their ruthless approach. I scan subject lines. If it's not instantly relevant, I delete. If I open it, you have 3 sentences. Lesson: your outreach must pass the relevance test immediately, showing you understand their world and have something worthwhile to say. The second stage to the first decision is, will the prospect agree to a conversation? When you spark curiosity or hit on a problem they care about, they'll be open to a conversation. This is the doorway to the rest of your sales process. In The Unconsultant Who Won the Deal story, Jill highlights a seller who landed a major client not by presenting slides, but by listening deeply, asking powerful questions, and brainstorming real solutions on a whiteboard. The buyer later said, "You weren't trying to sell me. You were trying to help me think better." The lesson here is that sellers who act like thinking partners, not vendors, earn trust and win deals. Now that you've earned the buyer's attention and secured a conversation, what you say next matters more than ever. This is where the spin selling framework comes in, a proven questioning technique that helps you uncover real needs, build credibility, and guide the buyer toward a solution without coming across as pushy. Spin selling is a consultative sales approach developed by Neil Rackham after studying over 35,000 sales calls. It focuses on asking the right questions in the right order to uncover the buyer's true needs and build the value of your solution. SPIN stands for situation, problem, implication, and need payoff. 4 types of questions that guide a sales conversation from surface-level info to deep insight and urgency. It's less about pitching and more about helping the buyer discover for themselves why they need to change and how you can help. Let's break it down. S is for situation. This is where you start by understanding the buyer's world. You're gathering facts, background, and context. For example, How are you currently handling this process? What tools are you using right now? Who's usually involved in making decisions like this? Keep it light. This isn't an interrogation. Do your homework beforehand so you're not wasting their time asking basic stuff you could have Googled. P is for problem. Now we start digging into what's not working. You want to uncover frustrations, challenges, or pain points. You might ask, what's the biggest challenge with your current solution? Are there any issues your team's been running into lately? What's slowing things down? This is where the buyer starts realizing their current way is not ideal. I is for implication. Here's where you turn up the heat, but in a helpful way. You're helping the buyer understand the real cost of doing nothing. Try asking, what happens if this continues another quarter? How does that impact your team's performance or targets? What's the risk to your customer experience if this isn't addressed? This stage builds urgency, and urgency drives decisions. And finally, we have the most important section of all, which is N for need payoff. Now you shift the focus toward solutions, but not by pitching. Instead, you get the buyer to tell you how great things would be if the problem were solved. Ask questions like, how would your workflow improve if that bottleneck disappeared? Would it help if you could automate that process? What kind of time or budget savings would that free up? When buyers start describing the value in their words, they become emotionally invested. That's when the sale becomes real. So remember, spin selling is less about talking and more about listening with intent. Ask smart questions, guide the conversation, and help your buyer connect the dots. When you do that well, you don't have to sell hard. They'll see the value for themselves. Let's get back to Snap. Just a quick recap. You started by trying to getting access to the prospect. We had two hurdles we needed to cross, namely no interest in connecting and agree to conversation. We now pivot to the second decision where we need to initiate change. Once you've secured a meeting, the next hurdle is getting the buyer to move away from the status quo. Buyers instinctively resist change because it feels risky, time-consuming, and uncertain, especially when they're already overwhelmed. This decision revolves around helping the buyer see that doing nothing is actually riskier than doing something, and that the current approach is holding them back. Your role is to educate, reframe their thinking, and gently create urgency for change without pushing too hard. Main focus: shift the buyer's mindset away from the status quo by introducing fresh insights and sparking a desire for improvement. Objective: move the buyer from passive to active by helping them realize their current situation is risky, outdated, or holding them back, and that change is necessary. The first stage in the second decision is we'll listen to ideas. Once access is granted, you must provide insight. Bring fresh thinking that reframes their situation and introduces better ways forward. Jill highlights some practical examples as follows. The lost deal that sparked Snap. Jill recounts losing a big opportunity early in her career because she assumed the buyer would prioritize her offering. In reality, her contact was drowning in internal issues and wasn't ready for change. The lesson here is that selling to busy people means you need to understand their priorities, stressors, and triggers. Timing, simplicity, and empathy are everything. The executive who said, "Don't educate me." A VP told her he didn't have time to be educated by vendors. He wanted someone who could get to the point, deliver insight fast, and be brief. Lesson: buyers want speed and substance, not drawn-out explanations. You need to compress your value into a tight, high-impact message. The second stage of the second decision is status quo is unacceptable. By now, your buyer is open to listening. That's a win. But just listening isn't enough. Your next challenge is this: helping them realize that staying where they are is no longer an option. In a fast-moving, competitive world, doing nothing can actually be the riskiest decision of all. This stage is about gently shaking their confidence in the status quo without overwhelming or pressuring them. Gently challenge their assumptions, but don't attack what they're doing. Instead, ask thought-provoking questions that lead them to re-examine it. Example: have you considered how this current approach might limit your growth in the next year? Show how the world has changed by tying your insights to shifts in the market, industry, or customer expectations. Example, we're seeing companies that don't adapt to X trend falling behind quickly, especially when it comes to customer experience. Make the cost of inaction visible by highlighting what they're missing out on by staying the same, whether it's lost revenue, wasted time, or falling behind competitors. Example, every month this issue goes unresolved, it's costing you X hours and Y dollars. Introduce a sense of urgency without fear-mongering. The goal isn't to scare them into action, but to help them see that waiting comes with consequences. Example, delaying change might seem safe, but in 6 months, that same issue could become a real blocker to hitting your targets. And finally, use customer stories and case studies. Stories of similar companies that struggled and then thrived after changing. Make the risk real and the reward tangible. Example, one of our clients had a very similar setup. They hesitated at first, but after switching, they saved 20% in operating costs within 3 months. One of the most effective ways to break the inertia of the status quo is by offering a low-risk demo or trial of your solution. This gives the buyer, and often their team, a chance to experience the benefits firsthand without committing to a full rollout. Familiarity builds comfort, and once they see how it works in their own environment, resistance to change starts to melt away. Even better, the person managing the trial internally often becomes your champion, someone who's now advocating for your solution from the inside, making the buying decision feel safer, smarter, and more supported. Helping a buyer move beyond the status quo isn't about pressure, it's about perspective. You're giving them a clearer view of what's at stake if nothing changes. By highlighting risks, sharing fresh insights, and showing real-world consequences, you help them reframe inaction as the real risk, not the safer option. When the buyer sees that standing still could leave them behind, they're much more open to considering your solution as the way forward. Now we come to the third and final decision: select resources. After the buyer commits to making a change, they must choose who will help them do it. And this is where you position yourself as the best partner. Crazy busy buyers don't want complexity or confusion. They want simplicity, alignment with their needs, and confidence that they're making the right choice. Your job is to stay top of mind, minimize friction, and make the decision process easy by aligning your solution to their priorities and reducing perceived risk. The winner isn't always the best product. It's the best fit, clearly communicated. Main focus: guide the buyer through evaluating options by staying aligned with their priorities and reducing complexity. Objective: help them choose you as the best solution by proving you the simplest, most valuable, and most aligned choice for their business needs. This decision also has 2 stages, and the first is consider their options. Once your buyer accepts that the status quo is no longer viable, they naturally move into research mode. They start evaluating all the possible solutions, including yours and everyone else's. This is a critical moment where you need to position yourself as a helpful guide, not just a vendor. Your job now is to help them make sense of the noise and see clearly how their options stack up. Become their trusted advisor, not just a seller, by focusing on guiding them, not just selling. Help them think through their options with clarity and confidence. Example: let's walk through the key priorities you mentioned earlier and compare how each option addresses those. Highlight differentiators without bad-mouthing and be clear about how your solution is different or better, but do it respectfully. Let your strengths speak for themselves. Example: what makes our platform unique is that it integrates with your existing tools. Most others require a full system overhaul. Use comparison tools or checklists and give them simple tools to weigh their options. Decision matrices or scorecards can reduce overwhelm and speed up consensus. Example: here's a quick comparison sheet we created to help you evaluate based on what matters most to you. Support internal evaluation and make it easy for them to share your information with other stakeholders. Videos, one-pagers, and quick explainer decks are your friends here. Example: would it help if I sent over a short deck that you could use in your internal meeting? Finally, you must stay visible without being pushy. Check in with value, not pressure. Offer new insights or answer follow-up questions so you stay top of mind during their decision process. Example: Just wanted to pass along a case study from a company similar to yours. Thought it might help your internal conversation. This phase isn't about hard selling. It's about helpful comparison and clarity. Buyers are overwhelmed with options, so make it easy for them to understand yours. Be helpful, be available, and most importantly, be trustworthy. If you guide them well here, you're already setting yourself up as the obvious choice when the final decision comes. The second stage to the last question is best option selected. The final stretch, the buyer is ready to choose. But even now, there's risk in making the wrong decision, which can cause delays, second-guessing, or even indecision. Your goal here is to build confidence, reduce friction, and make the choice feel safe and smart. This is where you help them take that last step, from maybe to let's go. Reinforce their priorities and remind them what they cared about most at the beginning, and show how your solution matches those priorities. Example: you told me your top concerns were speed and ease of use. Here's how we check both of those boxes. Provide social proof and use testimonials, success stories, and case studies to build confidence in the decision. Example: this company had nearly the same challenge you did, and they saw a 35% improvement in 90 days. Clarify next steps and make the path forward incredibly simple. Avoid complex terms or vague instructions. Lay it out clearly. Example: we'll set you up with a dedicated onboarding specialist, and your team will be fully up and running in under 10 days. Preempt buyer's remorse. Even after they say yes, there's often a last-minute hesitation. Reassure them and validate their choice. Example: you're making a smart move. We'll be with you every step of the way to ensure it delivers exactly what you need. Celebrate the win and make the moment feel good. Congratulate them on moving forward and build excitement about what's to come. Example: excited to partner with you. We've already lined up your kickoff team. You're going to love how quickly this comes together. The decision has been made. Now it's your job to help them feel confident, supported, and excited about what's next. Eliminate uncertainty, reduce friction, and deliver reassurance. When you guide them across the finish line with confidence and clarity, you don't just close a sale, you open the door to a long-term relationship. Sales today isn't about pressure or persuasion. It's about guiding busy, overwhelmed buyers through a smart decision-making journey. Snap selling helps you align with how your buyers think, how they choose, and what they need at each stage of the process. By making it easy for them to allow access, initiate change, and select resources, you're not just selling a product. You're helping them solve real problems in a way that feels simple, smart, and safe. Master this approach. Combine it with the powerful questioning of spin selling, and you'll not only close more deals, you'll build lasting trust and long-term relationships. In closing, we must acknowledge that sales has changed, but the fundamentals remain. Success comes from deep understanding, smart frameworks, and empathy-driven conversations. By combining the strategic clarity of snap selling with the conversation power of spin selling, you'll turn interest into access, access into impact, and impact into revenue. I have added some links below for a deeper dive into spin selling. However, I strongly recommend that you make the investment to purchase both these books, as there is much more details that we could not fit into this video. Thanks for watching. Now, go make that next call count.